Hi all, welcome back to Just Talks. We were dealing with personality disorders. So in the first session, I dealt with what are personality disorders and then what are the theories and all. So in the session, we'll be dealing with clinical features. We'll see what are the symptoms of each disorders. Okay, so stay tuned. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. So let's begin our session. So clinical features. So let's see what are the general symptoms of personality disorders in general. Okay. So the first one is frequent mood swings. So the person with personality disorders will have frequent mood swings. Then they will have stormy relationships, which are not that healthy relationship. They'll be socially isolated. They do not like to be in groups, or they always like to be alone. Next is angry outbursts. Outbursts, they get anger very fast. They cannot control their anger. They shout at people. Next is suspicion and mistrust of others. They always have doubt on others, or they do not trust others, and also they find difficulty in making friends. Need for instant gratification, poor impulse control, and alcohol or substance abuse. Okay, these are some of the general symptoms of personality disorder. Next, we'll see cluster A disorders. Okay, so cluster A in general it is odd eccentric type. Okay, so in cluster A we will be dealing with paranoid, schizotypal, and schizoid. These are the three disorders which comes under cluster A. So it is odd eccentric type. So it includes paranoid, schizoid, and schizotypal personality disorders. Affected individuals use the defense mechanism of projection and fantasy and may have a tendency towards psychotic thinking. So individuals who have paranoid, schizoids, or schizotypal, they use the defense mechanism of projection. Okay. So next is projection involves attributing to another person the thoughts or feelings of one's own that are unacceptable. So projection means the individual will attribute to another the thoughts or feelings of one's own to another person, okay, which is unacceptable. And fantasy includes it is a creation of imaginary life with which the patient deals with loneliness. So the patient will create a imaginary life. A fantasy can be quite elaborate and extensive. So, paranoia is a feeling of being persecuted or treated unfairly by others. Okay, paranoia means suspiciousness. So, such patients may feel that others are talking about or making fun of them. So, they are always suspicious. They doubt others. Even if they see two people talking, they think that they are talking about the person or making fun of me. All these things, all these thoughts will be going inside them. So biologically, patients with cluster A personality disorders, they may have a vulnerability to cognitive disorganization when stressed. Okay, so these disorders do not occur exclusively during the course of schizophrenia. So when the person is suffering from schizophrenia, these disorders doesn't occur. So which is a mood disorder with psychotic features. Okay, so schizophrenia is a mood disorder with psychotic features. So let's see cluster A. The first one is paranoid. So paranoid means individuals with this disorder display pervasive distrust and suspiciousness. They never trust anyone and they always have suspicious thoughts. Okay, like I said, they feel that others are talking about me or others are, saying something bad about me or making fun of me. All these things will be going inside them. So common beliefs include the following: others are exploiting or deceiving the person. Friends and associates are untrustworthy. They never trust anyone. They don't feel like trusting. Information confined to others will be used maliciously. They feel that okay, if I say something to this person, they will, make use of it, or they will tell to some other person. So they do not trust anyone. There is hidden meaning in remarks or events others perceive as benign. The same as most personality disorders, people with paranoid don't realize they have a problem and are not likely to seek professional help unless other issues appear. So, like other personality disorders, also paranoid person suffering from paranoid, they do not realize that they have got a problem, and they do not, go for professional help unless they feel that some other issues is there with them. So the prevalence of paranoid personality disorder is unknown. Okay, people tend to group themselves in esoteric religions and pseudoscientific and quasi-political groups. Groups of paranoid individuals who set themselves apart and see others as the enemy tend to provoke negative reactions from the outside, which reinforces their paranoid views. Okay. So, in let's see the summary of paranoid. Paranoid personality involves coldness and distancing in relationships. So they do not have a proper relationship, okay, with need for control and tendency towards jealousy if attachments are formed. Affected people are often secretive and untrusting. They tend to be suspicious of changes and frequently find hostile and malevolent motives behind other people's act. So they feel suspiciousness, and they always think that other people's have some negative motives, all these things, okay, towards them. Their reactions sometimes surprise or scare others. They also use the resulting anger of or rejection of by others. That is like we said that they mainly use projections and all to justify their original feelings. Paranoid people tend to feel a sense of righteous indignation and often take legal action against others. These people may be highly efficient and consciousness, although they usually need to work in relative isolation. This disorder must be differentiated from paranoid schizophrenia. So that is about paranoid. Next, we are going to see what is schizoid. So this type of personality disorder is very uncommon, especially in clinical settings. So a person with this disorder, you can see the person will be detached from others and has little desire for close relationship. So the person with schizoid personality disorder, they do not form any kind of relationships. They always like to be alone. The person's life is marked by little pleasure in activities and tends to be anhedonic. So they don't like to be involved in pleasurable activities, and or they do not like close relationships, or they always people with this disorder are indifferent to the praise or criticism of others, and often they are a cold or aloof type character, and they can be described as a pervasive pattern of detachment from social relationships and restriction of emotion in interpersonal settings that begins by early adulthood. So let's see what are some of the characteristics. Neither desiring nor enjoying close relationships, choosing solitary activities. So they always like to be alone, and whatever activities they do, they always do it alone. Okay, and they do not have interest in sex, indifference to praise or criticism, emotional frigidity. Because patients with schizoid personality disorder rarely seek treatment. Okay, the prevalence of this condition is unknown. So this is present in a variety of contexts. The diagnosis can be made when at least four of the following is present. So let's see what are the four of the following. No desire or enjoyment of close relationships, like we have said, they do not enjoy relationships, including being part of a family. They also do not like to be in a family. Choice of solitary activities, always they choose activities that can be done alone. Then little, if any, interest in having sexual experiences with another person, enjoyment of few, if any, activities, lack of close friends or confidence other than first degree relatives. They do not have close friends or any other relationships other than their own, first degree relatives. Apparent indifference to the praise or criticism of others, emotional coldness, detachment, or flattened affect. So coming to the summary, so schizoid personality disorder. It is characterized by introversion. They are introvert person. So social withdrawal, isolation, and emotional coldness and distancing. Affected individuals are often absorbed in their own thoughts and feelings and fear closeness and intimacy with others. So basically, they don't like forming relationship. Also, they fear of being closeness is their being intimacy with other people. Okay, and they are mostly daydreamers. Okay, these are some of the characteristics of schizoid. Next, we'll see schizotypal. So, several studies indicate that 3% of the population has this disorder. The problems posed by treating patients with schizotypal personality disorder and a medical condition or surgical illness are similar to those encountered with schizoid patients. Illness threatens their isolation. So studies shows that only 3% of population has schizotypal. Okay. So central features of this disorder are pervasive patterns of strange. So the main characteristics we could say that is their character is strange, or they will have odd thoughts or perceptions and behavior. These peculiarities are not so severe that they can be termed schizophrenic, and there is no history of psychotic episodes. So there is no history of psychotic episodes. So we cannot say that it is a type of schizophrenia or something. A pervasive pattern of social and interpersonal deficits marked by acute discomfort with and reduced capacity for close relationship is indicative. So this type of personality disorder, people also they do not like forming relationships. Okay. People with this disorder exhibit marked eccentricities of thought, perception, and behavior. They will have odd thoughts, perceptions, and behavior. Cognitive or perceptual distortions also occur. This is indicated by the presence of at least five of the following ideas of reference. So ideas of reference, it basically means that the public messages are directed personally at them. So whatever they see in the news channels or in radios, whatever public messages they receive, they feel that it is for me. The message is for me. That is ideas of reference. So odd beliefs or magic, they will have odd beliefs or magical thinking. So the main characteristics is ideas of reference. Okay, do not get confused with schizoid personality disorder. So they will have odd beliefs or magical thinking that influence their behavior and are inconsistent with subcultural norms. Example, belief in superstitious telepathy, sixth sense. They believe in all these things. Okay, sixth sense in children and adolescents, desire, fantasies, or preoccupations. So next is idiosyncratic perceptual experiences or bodily illusions, overthinking and speech, suspiciousness or this personality disorder. People will also have suspiciousness or paranoid ideation, inappropriate or constricted affect behavior or appearance that is odd, eccentric, or peculiar, lack of close friends or confidence other than first degree, like we said in schizoid, excessive social anxiety. Okay, they will have social anxiety also, and that does not diminish with familiarity. Even if the person knows the other person, then also, or if they are familiar with a group of people, then also their anxiety doesn't get diminished and tends to be associated with paranoid fears rather than negative judgments about self. So next we are going to see cluster A schizotypal. Next we are going to see the summary of schizotypal personality disorder. So like the schizoid personality disorder, this also involves social withdrawal, emotional coldness, but also includes oddities of thinking, perception, and communication, such as magical thinking, idea of reference, or paranoid ideation. So basically, schizotypal personality disorder, these people also don't form, relationship with others. They have social anxiety. They have odd thoughts, perception, and mainly idea of reference. They will have paranoid ideation also. So that is about cluster A. So in cluster A, we saw paranoid, schizoid, and schizotypal personality disorders. Next, we are moving to cluster B. So basically, cluster B personality disorder, they are dramatic and emotional type. Okay. So this cluster includes histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic, antisocial, and borderline personality disorders. So affected individuals tend to use certain defense mechanisms. So in cluster A, we saw that they mainly use projection. So here they are using dissociation, denial, splitting, and acting out. Okay, so dissociation involves the forgetting of unpleasant feelings and associations. It is unconscious splitting of some mental processes and behavior from the normal or conscious awareness of the individual. So when extreme, this can lead to multiple or disorganized personality. So dissociation is basically forgetting about their unpleasant feelings. Okay, denial means it is associated with dissociation. So patients refuse to acknowledge a thought, feeling, or wish but are unaware of doing so. They are not aware of what they are doing, their feelings, their thoughts, all these things. So splitting, often seen in patients with borderline personality disorders, occurs when these individuals view other person as all good or all bad. So splitting is basically seen with borderline personality. So affected individuals cannot experience an ambivalent relationship and cannot even be ambivalent in regard to their own self-image. So, borderline personality individuals. Okay, so acting out involves the actual motor expression of a thought or feeling that is intolerable to a patient. This can involve both aggressive and sexual behavior. So patients with these type of this, now we are saying in common, okay, how cluster B or personality disorder people will be there. So patients with these type of personality disorders may be biologically vulnerable to stress. That is, a tendency to low cortical arousal causes them to easily overstimulate and a wide variation of autonomic and motor activities. Thus, a psychobiological pattern may develop which increases the potential for acting out, and that is not associated with any particular anxiety. So, this is just basically for you to understand in general what is cluster B, how is their characteristics. Okay, this is just you can just for your understanding, I have just added this. So mood disorders are common and maybe the complaint. So somatization disorder is associated histrionic personality disorder. So basically they will have pains, false pains and all, and that is associated with histrionic personality disorder. So patients tend to be emotionally unstable, impulsive, and intense. So what you have to do is that just see what are the general characteristics of cluster B personality, like emotionally unstable, impulsive. So you can add on to your characteristics. So let's see what is borderline personality disorder. So the central feature of borderline personality disorder is a pervasive pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships, self perception and moods. Impulse control is markedly impaired. So the main feature of borderline personality is they are unstable and they have a very strong interpersonal relationship. So far we have seen that in cluster A they do not form a proper relationship, and they have self perception and moods. Impulse control is also markedly impaired. The impulse, they are not able to control themselves. So transiently, such patients may appear psychotic because of the intensity of their distortions. So they may appear psychotic because of their distortions. Okay. So this is one of the most commonly overused diagnoses in DSM-4. So let's see what are the diagnostic criteria. At least 5 of them should be there. Frantic efforts to avoid expected abandonment, unstable and intense interpersonal relationship. They'll have intense, but it is not stable, characterized by altering between the extremes of idealization and devaluation. Then they have identity disturbance, that is markedly and persistently disturbed, distorted, or unstable self-image or sense of self. Next is impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging, that is either sex, substance abuse, reckless driving, all these things. Okay. Then they also have recurrent suicidal behaviors or threats or self-mutilation behavior. They try to harm themselves. Affective instability due to markedly reactivity of mood. Then they will have chronic feelings of emptiness, inappropriate and intense anger, or lack of control of their anger. They are not able to control themselves. This disorder may be present in 1 to 2% of the population, and it is made, the diagnosis is made twice as frequently in women. So borderline is common in women. Of the individual with this diagnosis, 90% also have one of the other psychotic diagnosis, and 40% also have 2 other diagnoses. So summing up, borderline personality, it is marked by unstable self-image, mood, behavior, and relationship. They have instability in all these things. Affected people are often hypertensive. They tend to believe they are deprived of adequate care during childhood. So they believe that they didn't get proper care during their childhood, and they always feel a kind of emptiness, and they show anger. Okay, as a result, they are relentlessly seek care and are sensitive to its personal level. So because of this, they feel that they didn't get proper care during their childhood. So because of that, they seek care from others. So their relationship tend to be intense and dramatic, but it is not stable. When feeling cared for, they appear like lonely who seek help for depression. So substance abuse, you can see substance abuse, eating disorders, and past mistreatments. So when they fear the loss of the caring person, they frequently express inappropriate intense anger. So when they have that kind of fear of losing the person, they always express intense anger. These mood shifts are typically accompanied by extreme changes in their views of the world, themselves, and other people. Example: bad to good, from hatred to love. So all this, their mood changes. When they feel abandoned, they dissociate and become desperately impulsive. Their concept of reality is sometimes so poor that they have brief episodes of psychotic thinking, such as paranoid delusions and hallucinations. Also, they often become self destructive and may cut themselves, that is, self mutilation behavior, or even attempt to commit suicide. They initially tend to evoke intense, nurturing responses on caretakers. But after repeated cruises, vague, unfounded complaints, and failure to adhere to therapeutic recommendations, they are viewed as help rejecting complainants. Okay, this is what is basically about borderline personality disorder. So it is common in women. Next, we'll see what is narcissistic. So it is a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy. So narcissistic, basically it means that self-love. Okay, they always look for admiration. They want importance. They give much importance to themselves. So it is characterized by self, always self importance, preoccupations with fantasies, belief that they are special. Okay, they think that they are special, they are important to everyone. They always try to be the center of attraction. Okay, and including a sense of entitlement and need for excessive admiration. They always be, they always see that they are the, they get the admiration, and they seek for attention, and their extreme levels of jealousy and arrogance. And individuals also have a grandiose sense of their own importance, but are also extremely sensitive to criticism. So they think that they are very important, and also at the same time, they are also very sensitive to criticism. They have little ability to empathize with others. They are more concerned about appearance than substances. Okay. So narcissistic patients have a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy. They do not see the feelings of others. They always seek for admiration, and it begins in early adulthood, and it is present in the adulthood. Narcissistic personality is indicated by at least five of the following should be there. A grandiose sense of self-importance. They always give importance to themselves. Exaggeration of achievements, or whatever achievements they have got, they will exaggerate it and tell their achievements, talents, abilities, and expectation for recognition as superior without commensurate achievements. So even without any achievements, also they expect that they get recognition as something big or as superior. So always they want to be the center of attraction. They're always preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Believe that she is special, she is unique, and can only be understood by or should associated with other special or high step. Okay, they always feel that I'm very special or I'm very unique. Or else, if you are, comparing, or if you are telling something about me, you should associate it with some other special people like celebrities, or people who are in high status. All these, they expect all these things. So requirement of excessive admiration and sense of entitlement. They, for without any reason, they expect of especially favorable treatment or automatic complaints with her views, behavior that is interpersonally exploitative. They always take advantage of others as means to achieve her own ends. For whatever she wants to achieve, she take the advantages of others. So lack of empathy, that is unwilling to recognize or identify feelings and needs of the others. So they always are they have a jealousy kind of attitude, belief, and that others are envious of her arrogant type of behavior, demonstration of haughty behavior or attitude. So summing up, narcissistic personality disorder involves grandiosity, and affected individuals have an exaggerated sense of superiority and expect to be treated with difference and preferences. Their relationships are characterized by a need to be admired, and they are extremely sensitive to criticism, failure, or defeat. They cannot stand with criticism or failure or any kind of defeat also. So when confronted with failure to fulfill their high opinion of themselves, they can become enraged or seriously depressed and even commit suicide. So when they are not able to fulfill their their wishes, or when they come across any failure, they tries to commit suicide or they become seriously depressed. So they often believe other people envy them, and also they may exploit others. So that was about narcissistic. So next we will see histrionic. What is histrionic personality disorder? So it is excessively emotionality and attention seeking behavior. Okay, this is also kind of attention seeking behavior. So, but it is not like narcissistic, that was self love. So patients with histrionic personality disorder, they display excessive emotionality and also attention seeking behavior. They're quite dramatic and often sexually provocative or seductive. The emotions are labile. So in clinical settings, their tendency to wag and impressionistic speech is often highlighted. So basically they are very dramatic and they always seek attention. They need attention from others. For that they'll be sexually provocative and selective. So this disorder was formerly called hysterical personality, but that term was discarded because of the many meanings of the word. Okay, so now it is called as histrionic only. The pervasive pattern of excessive emotionality and attention seeking that begins by early adulthood and is present in a variety of contexts is characteristics. So mainly their characteristic is excessive emotionality and attention seeking. So this is indicated by 5 of the following should be there. Feeling of discomfort in situation which she is not the center of attention. Interaction with the others that is often inappropriately sexually selective. Insincere affect that is display of rapidly shifting and shallow expression of emotions. Then consistent use of physical appearance to draw. Okay, so she wants the attention from others. So for that they use physical appearance to grab the attention of others. And their speech that is excessively impersonistic and lacking in detail, self-dramatization with a theatrical and exaggerated expression of emotion. Next is suggestibility, that is easily influenced by others or circumstances, exaggeration of importance of relationships and acquaintances. So the prevalence is not known with certainty. The condition which is thought to be common is diagnosed in women much more than in men. So that is about histrionic. So let's see what is the summary. So histrionic, this involves conspicuous attention seeking. So affected people are also overly conscious of appearance and are dramatic. Okay, they are very conscious about their physical appearance, and their expression of emotion often seems exaggerated, childish, and superficial. Still, they frequently evoke sympathetic or erotic attention from other people, and their relationships are often easily established and overly sexualized by sexualized, but to be superficial and transient. Behind their seductive behaviors and their tendency to exaggerate somatic problems, such as hypochondria, often lie more basic wishes for dependency. So basically, histrionic personality is about attention seeking, and they always give more importance to their appearance. Okay, that is about histrionic. Next, we'll see antisocial. It is a chronic maladaptive behavior that is disregards the rights of the other. So in antisocial personality disorder, these people doesn't follow the rules. They do not obey the rights, rules, and they always disregard the rights of others. So individuals who display this type of personality disorder, they will have pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others, the rules of the society. They never follows the rules. And also individuals will have a continuous history and chronic antisocial behavior in which the rights of others are violated. So the essential defect is one of the character structure in which the affected individuals are seemingly unable to control their impulses. Okay, they are not able to control their impulses and postpone immediate gratification. So whatever their need is, they will do it at that time. They are not able to control themselves. So affected individuals, they lack sensitivity to the feelings of others. They do not have empathy. They're egocentric, selfish, and excessively demanding. In addition, they are usually free of anxiety, remorse, and guilt. They do not feel anxious or guilt. And violation of law and customs of local communities characteristic. That is the main characteristics of them. They violate the laws and rules. The term psychopath or sociopath have been applied to individuals with particularly even antisocial. You might have seen certain movies and all. So they have antisocial personality. They might have a history of antisocial personality disorders. So these are considered lifelong conditions and are signs of conduct disorder. Conduct disorder is type of and it is a kind of antisocial behavior where it is present in adolescence, like age less than, I think, 15 years of age. The criteria for conduct should be met. So for diagnosing antisocial personality disorder, they should meet the criteria of conduct disorder. So persons who use illegal substances satisfy many of the criteria of antisocial personality disorder as a result of their pursuit of these substances. So next, see what are the factors. Current age of 18 years or older. They should be 18 years or older. Evidence of conduct disorder, onset before age 15. A pervasive pattern of disregard for a violation of their rights occurring since age 15. Okay, this should be there, and at least 3 of the following should also be there. Failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors, as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest. They always do something against the law so that they become caught or arrested. Irritability and aggressiveness, as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. Consistent irresponsibility, as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or horror financial obligations. Impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. Okay, they're not able to plan ahead what is their future. They lack control over their impulse, and they always lie, repeated lying. Okay, reckless disregard for safety of self or others. Lack of remorse, indicated by being indifferent. Okay, or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, stolen from another person. So that is basically their characteristics. So this is antisocial personality disorder is marked by callous disregard for the rights and feelings of other people. Affected people exploit others by materialistic gain or personal gratification. For their own gratification, their own personal thing, they exploit the rights of others. Also, they become frustrated easily and tolerate frustration poorly. And it is characteristically they act out their conflicts impulsively and irresponsibly, and sometimes with hostility and violence. They usually do not anticipate the consequence of their behaviors and typically do not feel remorse or guilt afterwards. Okay? They do not feel that kind of guilty feeling is not there. They do not have empathy and typically do not feel, yeah. Many of them have a well-developed capacity for rationalizing their behavior or blaming it. So whenever they are caught, they are very good in rationalizing their behavior, or they always blame on others. And dishonesty and lying, repeated lying in relationships also. Punishment rarely modifies their behavior. Even if they get lots of punishments also, it rarely improves their behavior. So it is often, this kind of personality disorder, it often leads to alcoholism, drug addiction, failure to fulfill responsibilities, and they frequently relocate, difficulty abiding by rules and laws. So next we'll see cluster C. That was about cluster B. Next we'll see cluster C. So cluster C involves anxious and fearful type personality people. Okay, there are these kind of people. Cluster C people will always be anxious and fearful. So this includes avoidant, dependent, and obsessive compulsive personality disorders. So individuals use defense mechanism of isolation, passive aggression, and hypochondriasis. So let's see what is isolation. So it is unacceptable feeling, act, or idea separated from the associated emotion. So patients are orderly and controlled and can speak of events in their lives without feeling. So it's not whenever the patient is speaking about something, it is not necessary that it is their own feelings. They are able to talk about things that are not in their life. So passive aggression is next. Passive aggression. This occurs when resistance is indirect and often turned against the self. Thus, failing examinations, clownish conduct, and procrastinating are aspects of passive aggressive behavior. Next is hypochondriasis. It is often present in patients with personality disorders, particularly in dependent patients. Biologically and passive aggressive patients also. So biologically, these patients may have tendency towards higher levels of cortical arousal and an increase in motor inhibition. So cluster C, they are anxious, like I said, they are anxious and fearful. So twin studies have demonstrated some genetic factors in the development of cluster C. So for example, obsessive compulsive traits are more common in monozygotic twins than in dizygotic. Okay, so monozygotic twins will have, the study was seen that obsessive compulsive traits were there. So patients with obsessive compulsive disorder are not at increased risk for obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So we have personality disorder also and vice versa, okay? So let's see one by one. First is avoidant. So avoidant patients are, basically they are very shy and they display a pattern of social inhibition because they are very shy and all. That's why they are not able to face people or social interaction. So feelings of inadequacy and hypersensitivity to rejection. They always fear rejection. Unlike patients with schizoid personality, they actually desire relationship with others but are paralyzed by it. Okay, like schizoid personality people, they love to be in a relationship, they love to form relationship, but then they have the fear whether the person will leave them, or whether they are very scared of social isolation. Okay, that's why they have the desire, but they are not able to form a relationship. So a pervasive pattern of social inhibition, feelings of inadequacy, and hypersensitivity to negative evaluation that it begins in the adulthood. So avoidant personality, it is present in a variety of conduct indicated by four of the following. So avoidance of occupational activities that involve significant. So they avoid activities that mainly involves interpersonal contact, that interaction, because of fear of criticism and rejection. They are scared of whether people will criticize or reject them or disapprove them. Unwillingness to become involved with people unless certain of being liked. Restraint in intimate relationship because of fear of being shamed. Preoccupation with worry about being criticized. They are always worried about whether they are being criticized or rejected in social isolation situations. So inhibition in new interpersonal situation because of feelings of inadequacy. Believes that he or she is socially inept, personally unappealing, or inferior to others. So they do not have a very good feeling of themselves. So usual reluctance to take personal risks or engage in any new activities because they may prove embarrassing. So they do not take any kind of risk, or they do not engage in any kind of new activities because they feel they will be criticized. So avoidant personality, it is closely linked to a person's temperament. So approximately 10% of toddlers have been found to be habitually fearful and withdrawn when exposed to new people and situations. We have seen this in small kids. So this trait appears to be stable over time. So social anxiety is hypothesized to involve the amygdala and other areas of the brain's limbic system, which is affected, which in affected individual is postulated to have a lower threshold of arousal and are more pronounced response when activated. So this is basically the characteristics of avoidant personality disorder. And it is marked by hypersensitivity to rejection and criticism, a fear of starting relationship or make anything new because of the risk of failure or disappointment. Because affected people have a strong conscious desire for affection and acceptance. They are openly distressed by their isolation and inability to relate comfortably to other people. They respond to even small hints of rejection or withdrawal, rejection by withdrawal. Okay, that is about avoidant personality disorder. Now let's see what is obsessive compulsive disorder, which is very common type of disorder. So people with this kind of personality disorder is often marked preoccupied with orderliness. They are very perfectionist and control. Their life is very, perfection. There is a very routine in them. They lack flexibility or openness. Their preoccupations interfere with their efficiency despite their focus of task. They are often inflexible about matters of morality, ethics, and values to a point. Okay, they are often stingy and they are very stubborn also. So individuals with this disorder, they display a pattern of preoccupation with orderliness, perfectionism, and environment interpersonal control. Their openness and efficiency. They mainly focuses on order and perfect. Everything should be perfect for them. This behavior begins by early adulthood and is present in a variety of contexts. Like it should have at least 4 of the following should be there. So preoccupation with details, rules, list, and organization or schedules, and perfectionism that interferes with task completion. So always they need something to, whatever things they are doing, that should be perfect. So what happens is that they are not able to complete their tasks on time. Okay, whatever project is given to them, they are not able to complete it on time because of their own strict standards. Excessive devotion of, so they have very much commitments to their work and productivity, their activities, even if it is their relationships also. And overly conscious inflexibility about matters of morality, ethics, or values. Inability to discard worn out or worthless objects even when they have no sentimental value. Reluctance to delegate tasks or to work with others unless they submit to exactly his way of doing things. So that is what perfectionism is. Adoption of a miserly spending style towards both herself and others. Money is viewed as something to be hoarded for future catastrophes. Rigidity and stubbornness. That is also their character. So people with this disorder have very few friends. They are difficult to live with and tend to drive people away. So so it is very difficult to make friendship with this kind of people. They may do very well in jobs that require detail and precision with little personal interaction. This disorder is more common in men, although the prevalence is not known with certainty. So coming to the summary, and so obsessive compulsive disorder, personality disorder, it is characterized by consciousness, orderliness, perfectionism, and reliability, but inflexibility often makes affected people unable to adapt to changes. So they take responsibility seriously, but because they hate mistakes and incompleteness, they can become entangled with details and forget their purpose. As a result, they have difficulty making decisions and completing tasks. Such problems make responsibilities a source of anxiety, and they rarely enjoy, satisfaction from their achievements. So most people with the obsessive compulsive traits are adaptive, as long as they are not, too marked. People who have them often achieve much especially in the sciences and other academic fields in which other perfectionism and perseverance are desirable. So in these fields they become they can do their best. However, they can feel uncomfortable with feelings and in their personal relationships and situation in which they lack control, they must rely on other people. So next we'll see what is dependent personality disorder. So independent, while many people exhibit dependent personal behaviors and traits, people with dependent personality have an excessive need to be taken care. Like from the word itself, you know that these people are very much dependent on others. They always need someone to take care of them. They always need someone to make decisions for them. Okay, they always cling to some or other person, and they do not know that without knowing the consequences. Also, they need somebody to help them. These passive individuals allow others to direct their lives. Okay, well, what they do not have any purpose. They do not know what how they have to live. So they need others to direct their life because they are unable to do so themselves. Other people such as spouses or parents make all the major life decision, including where to live, what type of employment. So for such people, individuals, their husbands or family members, they make major life decisions for them, where to live, what type of thing you have to do, or what type of job you have to do. So the needs of dependent individuals are placed secondary to those of the people on whom they depend, to avoid any possibility of being to be self-reliant. The dependent persons lack self-confidence. They do not have self-confidence and see themselves as helpless or even stupid. Some authorities believe that the presence of this disorder depends to a large extent on cultural rules. So the diagnosis, it requires five of the following: inability to make everyday decisions without an excessive amount of advice. So they need whatever simple decisions they have to make. They need a lot of advice from other people. They always need others to do their tasks. Need for others to assume responsibility. Difficulty expressing disagreement. They cannot say no to others. Okay, they always fear whether if I say these things, whether the person will leave me and go. So they always need somebody, some support. Okay, so that's why they do not say anything. They accept whatever it is. Difficulty initiating projects or doing things on his own because of lack of confidence. So they lack confidence also. Because of that, they cannot initiate any kind of projects. Goes to excessive lengths to obtain nurturance and support. So they go to any extent they go to get a support or nurturance from others. That is dependent personality. Feelings of discomfort or helplessness. Well, and whenever they feel alone, they feel helpless and discomfort because of they always fear of being unable to care about themselves. Urgent seeking. So they always go and seek for another relationship. So because they always need a source, care and support. So unrealistic preoccupation with fears of being left to take care of themselves. So children who have chronic physical illness or who have had separation anxiety, they are at risk of having dependent personality in their adult life. So summary, it is characterized by surrender of responsibility to other people. Affected people may submit to others to gain and maintain support. For example, they often allow the needs of people they depend on to supersede their own. They lack self-confidence, and feel intensely inadequate about taking care of themselves. They believe that others are more capable and they're reluctant to express their view for fear. Their aggressiveness will offend the people they need. Dependency in other personality disorder may be hidden by obvious behavioral problems. So basically, dependent personality means they always need somebody to take care of them. They feel that they are not able to take care of them and they lack self-confidence. So next we'll see personality disorders that is not specified. So far we have dealt with cluster B, cluster A, cluster B and cluster C. So now we are going to see personality disorders not specified. So the first, okay. So several other personality disorders types have been described but are not classified as disorders. Okay. So these are passive aggressive personality. It is a pattern of negative attitudes and passive resistance in interpersonal situations. So this kind of personality type is like it has got a negative attitude, especially in interpersonal situations, which typically produce the appearance of ineptness or passivity. But these behaviors are covertly designed to avoid responsibility or to control or punish other people. So basically, this is to avoid whatever responsibility they are getting or to punish other people. So passive aggressive behavior is often evidenced by procrastination, inefficiency, or unrealistic protests of disability. Frequently affected individuals agree to do tasks they do not want to do and then subtly undermine completion of that task. Such behavior usually serves to deny. So basically, these individuals, what they do is that they do not want to take up responsibilities. Okay, even if they take up responsibilities, also they do not complete the task on time. They always denies whatever their behavior is. Okay. So next is cyclothymic personality. So this is alternates between high spirited buoyancy and gloomy pessimism. Each mood lasts week or longer. So this kind of personality disorder, their mood lasts for weeks, either for weeks or it can be longer also. So characteristically, the rhythmic mood changes are regular and occur without justifiable external cause. When these features do not interfere with social adaptation, cyclothymia is considered a temperament and is present in many gifted and creative people. So when this kind of personality disorder it doesn't, if it is doesn't interfere with social adaptation, so it is considered as a temperament, and it is also seen in gifted and creative people also. So that is about cyclothymic personality. Next is depressive personality. So this is a pervasive pattern of depressive cognitions and the behaviors beginning by early adulthood. So this pattern is a depressive cognitions, or this individuals will have depressive behaviors, and this is seen in early adulthood, and it is characterized by chronic moroseness, worry, and self-consciousness. So this such people will have continuous worry, or they are very conscious about their own self. And affected individuals have a pessimistic outlook, which impairs their initiatives and disheartens other people. Self satisfaction seems undeserved and sinful. They unconsciously believe their suffering is a badge of merit needed to earn the love of admiration of others. So depressive personality, these people, they have a belief in themselves that whatever they are suffering is like a merit they get, so that the others will love and admire them. So that is about the depressive personality. Next is sadistic personality. So, in this, sadism is a behavioral disorder, and it is basically characterized by a callous, vicious, and manipulative and degrading behavior. So, expressed towards other people. So, it is basically manipulative type of behavior, and that is expressed towards other people. To date, the exact cause of sadism it is not known clearly. However, many theories have been given to explain the possible reasons underlying the development of sadistic personality in an individual. There are many theories that have come up to explain the reasons behind sadistic personality in an individual. So, most of these theories commonly point out the fact that sadism is mainly dependent on upbringing of an individual. So, how an individual is brought up, basically the parenting, that depends on the person's sadistic personality. That is what the theories commonly pointed out. Although biological and environmental aspects are also known to contribute to the development of this behavioral disorder. So there are biological and environmental aspects also, but commonly what the theory said was that it is because of the upbringing. It depends on the upbringing of an individual. So next is differential diagnosis. For the sake of simplicity, it is explicit to describe the differential diagnosis under the following headings. So under these two following headings, that is medical and psychiatric, we will be seeing the differential diagnosis. So differential diagnosis under medical condition, that is mental retardation secondary to medical condition or neurologic deficit. Next is alcoholism. So differential diagnosis, next is differential diagnosis under psychiatric. It is alcoholism, anxiety disorders, brief psychotic disorder, bulimia, depression, dissociative disorders, Janssen syndrome, hypochondriasis, mental disorders secondary to general medical conditions, paraphilias, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia, schizophreniform disorder, and last one is social phobia. So these are some of the differential diagnoses under psychiatric, and this is under medical. So in medical only two, it is mental retardation, alcoholism, and in psychiatric you have all these things. So in the session, we have basically dealt with the personality disorders. We have seen individually what is cluster A, cluster B, cluster C, and we have also seen the differential diagnosis under medical and psychiatric. So in next is about the DSM-4 criteria for personality disorders. So let's see for the paranoid personality disorder. So the presence of four or more of, we have already seen in general. So let's see what is the DSM-4 criteria for paranoid. Okay, four or more of the following should be there. And during a course of not occurring, it should not occur during a course of schizophrenia or psychotic depression or as part of a progressive developmental disorder, or also not due to a general medical condition. So without all this, these symptoms should be there. Like we have said, suspiciousness of being harmed, deceived, or unexploited, unwarranted doubts about the loyalty or trustworthiness of friends or associates, reluctance to confide in others because of preceding criteria, hidden meanings, readings into the innocuous actions of others, grudges for perceived wrongs, angry reactions to perceived attacks of character or reputation. So next is about schizoid personality disorder. The same thing, like four or more of the following should be there, and it should not occur during the course of schizophrenia or psychotic depression, and also not due to any other medical condition. So the criteria are lack of desire or enjoyment of close relationship, most exclusive preference for solitude, little interest in sex with others, few in any pleasures, lack of friends, indifference to praise or criticism from others, flat affect, emotional attachment. So all this we have already explained. So next is about schizotypal, like the same thing. It should be present. Five or more should be present, and it should not occur during a course of schizophrenia, during a psychotic depression, or any other medical condition. So basically, they should have ideas of reference, peculiar beliefs or magical thinking, unusual perceptions like distorted beliefs about one's body, peculiar patterns of speech, extreme suspiciousness and paranoia, inappropriate affect or behavior or appearance, lack of close friends, extreme discomfort, and extreme anxiety around. So that was about cluster A. Next is borderline personality, which comes under cluster B. So basically they will have frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, both real and imagined, instability and extreme intensity in interpersonal relationship, idealizing others in one moment and reviling them the next, unstable sense of sense, impulsive behavior like reckless spending and sexual promiscuity, then recurrent suicidal thoughts and self-mutilating behavior, extreme emotional liability, chronic feelings of emptiness, and extreme problems controlling anger. Then they will have paranoid thinking and dissociative symptoms triggered by stress. So that was about borderline. Next is histrionic personality. In histrionic, the same thing, five or more should be there. Strong need to be the center of attention. Okay, inappropriate sexually seductive behavior, rapidly shifting expression of emotions, use of physical appearance to draw attention to self, then speech excessively impressionistic and passionately held. So their speech is also like that. So so they can grab the attention of others. exaggerated theoretical emotional expression, overly suggestible, mistreats relationship as being more intimate than they actually are. Next is about narcissistic. So five or more should be there. Grandiose view of one's importance, arrogance, preoccupation with one's success, brilliance and beauty, extreme need for admiration, strong sense of entitlement, tendency to exploit others, envy of others. So this is basically self-love. Next is antisocial, and this is pervasive pattern of disregard for the rights since the age of 15. Okay, that is important. At least three or should be there. One characteristic 1 to 7. Okay. So first one is repeated law breaking, then lying, impulsivity, aggressive behavior, reckless disregard for their own safety and of others, irresponsible behaviors, then lack of remorse, age should be at least 18, evidence of conduct disorder should be there before the age of 15, then antisocial behavior not occurring exclusively during episodes of schizophrenia or mania. So next is about avoidant personality disorder. Avoidance of interpersonal contacts, like from the word itself, you know that avoids interpersonal relationship because of the fear of criticism and rejection, unwillingness to get involved with others unless certain of being liked, restrain in intimate relationship for fear of being shamed, then preoccupied among being criticized or rejected, feeling of inadequacy or inferiority, extreme reluctance to try new things because of fear of being embarrassment. Next is about obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So this is basically they are preoccupied with rules and perfections, details to extend that the major point of an activity is lost, extreme perfectionism to the degree that the projects are seldom completed, excessive devotion to work to the exclusion of leisure and friendships, difficulty discarding worthless items, then reluctance to delegate unless others conform to one standard, miserliness, then rigidity and stubbornness. So next is about dependent personality disorder. So at least four of the following should be there: difficulty making decisions without excessive advice and reassurance from others, their need for others to take responsibility for most of their major areas of life. So they always need somebody to give decisions about their own life. Okay, so difficulty doing things on their own. They always need somebody's help and support because they lack self confidence. Doing unpleasant things as a way to obtain the approval and support. They always do such things that they need approval and support from others. Okay, the feelings of helplessness when alone because of lack of confidence, and they feel that they are unable to handle certain things without guidance from others. Then they urgently seek new relationship with the present one ends. When one of the relationship ends, they always seek for new relationship, and they always get used up. They always need somebody, so for that they never disregards their or say anything against them. Preoccupation with feelings of having to take care of self. So basically, they cannot live alone. They need always somebody's help and care. So this is just the criteria, DSM-4 criteria for all the personality disorders. So hope this session was clear. Okay, so in the next session, I'll be dealing with the treatment, the plans, and all. So let's see in the next video. So hope this was informative. And finally, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.